So people have been asking me, they've been saying, Doug, what would the new project be? Well, this is a model of a Shelby Cobra, and we're thinking of, oh, here's the actual car. Please forgive me, I should have documented the work on this car every step of the way. The body work, engine, electrical, everything. But what I did document was this car needed a small block Chevy transplant. It came as a basket case with a rather destroyed or worn out small block Chevy. So we're going to Jegs and we're going to show you putting a new small block Chevy in. Okay, here it is. This is a box of stuff from this company. Jegs. This is stuff that they did not ship with the they didn't ship with the engine itself, which is kind of like truck. This came FedEx. Whoa! Balancer. Harmonic balancer. Harmonic balancer? This is the 6-inch dude. Interesting. Has a lot of interesting colored dots on it, which I haven't seen before. And the timing mark, which is very close to the keyway. We'll see what that means, how that works later. This is most likely the distributor. And I might not need this because I have a new distributor on mine. And I suppose I could have asked to buy the engine without the distributor and see if they give me a discount. Ooh, look how nicely packed this is. Check this out. See, it's packed in foam, and it has high performance HEI distributor installation instructions. So there's a little bit of dust, foam dust on it, but the O-ring is there. No, that's not an O-ring, it's a regular gasket. And that's that. I might use it or I might not. Oh, intake manifold gaskets with the little rubber guys that people say not to use, that you should use RTV sealant instead. Packing list at the bottom. Ooh, very nice. Nice, huh? Has the firing order right here and casting number. It's a spread bore, which is good. I'm going to at least try to put my rebuilt Quadrajet onto this, and then when that fails, I'll go ahead and break down and buy a something. But it might not fail. It might be okay. So there is, and this probably weighs 30 pounds, 40 pounds less than the cast iron one that's on my old engine. So now that's what's in the box from Jegs that didn't come with the engine, that I think is going to come tomorrow or maybe Wednesday. It's Monday today. So here it is. It came, the 350 Chevy, inexpensive, long block from Jegs in a crate. That was the crate I just took off. Wrapped in plastic, nicely made in Mexico, I believe. And what I'm going to do is use my lift to take the engine off the cradle, kind of the wooden cradle they give you, which is on a pallet, and I can get the whole thing off my trailer. I had to drive to the trucking company and pick up this engine from the trucking company. Actually, that's not true. I think maybe they came to my house, but I had to drive to the end of my driveway to get it with the trailer. There goes the trailer. And now I've got an inexpensive engine stand from Harbor Freight, and I'm going to hang the engine stand from the dangling engine and lower the whole thing to the floor. I didn't buy the least expensive engine stand from Harbor Freight. It seemed like it was a little bit unsteady. I bought the middle one. Get the Cobra up on the lift, and I have to say that this lift has been a very good, really I guess it's the best tool that I have in the shop. It's Atlas. It was inexpensive. I think it was $1,750, and I had to go get it from a trucking company, so that included shipping, but I had to go pick it up. It was about maybe 15 miles from here on my trailer. And then the tough part was bolting it into the floor, setting it up. But I don't think I would do any of this kind of work without this lift. And I put a couple of safety stands under it. So anyway, what have I done here? The biggest thing I did, you can see, this is the TH350 trans, and I welded in a metal strap because I'm not going to take the trans out. I'm just going to take the engine out. I have unbolted the exhaust from both sides. I've unbolted the torque converter from the flex plate, and a bunch of other things. Drained the coolant, pulled the coolant hose down, and I might drain the oil, or I might wait to drain the oil till afterward. I pulled the fuel hose off. The headers have been unbolted. One of them I was able to remove entirely. The other one is kind of still there, as you can sort of see. And so now I believe that now I'm actually ready to let this thing down on the ground and attach the chains to the engine and start pulling the engine from the top.
And here it is, some GoPro time lapse. There's the engine. I'm just going to start taking things off the top. As you can see, I'm using these groovy 60s style finned valve covers that I like. I think they fit the car. I'm trying to label everything. There aren't a lot of wires going here. There's maybe 6 or 8 wires. There goes the carb, the quadrajet. You can see the spread bore. 2 big holes and 2 little holes. Now I'm working on, I think the distributor's coming out next. I'm pulling all the wires off. I've labeled them. It's actually pretty easy to figure out where the wires go. Online you can find a lot of information. And now the headers have to come off. There goes a valve cover. Here goes the other valve cover. And I got to get the headers unbolted. People say, you read all these articles from the day of the Cobra, when the Cobra was built, and all these journalists, the car journalists, like to say that Carroll Shelby shoehorned a big Detroit V8 into the tiny car. They love to say shoehorned in, but the truth is there's plenty of room to work on this engine. It's compared to modern engines, or if you try to change a serpentine belt or something like that. I think at one point I'm actually have one leg, I'm almost standing next to the engine. There's plenty of room. And I think small block Chevys and small block Fords are actually not big engines. They're sort of they're like 4-cylinder engines kind of next to each other. So they're not big. I've got the tilting hoist bracket bolted to the front and back of the engine. And now I'm going to lift the engine out. And this part was actually pretty easy, just very methodical. You just start taking things off the engine one by one, and eventually it all comes out. I found it especially easy to do because unlike with a manual transmission, there's no shaft going from the trans into the engine with a lineup tool. You just unbolt 3 bolts from the flex plate from the torque converter, and out it comes. And now I've got the old engine hanging off of the hoist, and I'm starting to unbolt things. Really should have the camera closer on this part, but I'm taking accessories off. A lot of them are new accessories that I got from Rock Auto, and they'll go right back on the new engine. There goes the starter. Here's the fuel pump coming off.